Elections are stupid. I should run the USA. Insulation and cotton candy may look the same, but they don't taste the same. I'm going to make up a creature, then start a reality show looking for it.
My guest on tonight's show, he has been featured in The Whispers on ABC and True Detective. He is also an acting instructor. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jamison Jones on the show. How you been?
I've been great. Thank you for asking.
So how long have you been a acting instructor?
I've been teaching for about 6 years. I was teaching at a lot of private institutions and colleges and workshops and traveling around and doing that. And then about 4.5, 5 years ago, I secured this studio at Television Center Studios, which is the old Technicolor lot down in Hollywood. And I've been teaching there privately ever since.
You also do like script analysis as well and everything kind of behind the scenes. You don't just do acting, right?
Right. Well, I mean, technically that's a big part of acting.
Yeah.
Script analysis. Yeah. So it's a big part of what I teach the actors, right? You know, whether it's a good script, a mediocre script, or a great script, you've got to, I mean, the actor's job really is to bring it to life and to investigate what it is that's happening there and fill in the blanks. You know, I always tell my students, you couldn't put in a 10,000 page novel the complexities of one human being. So for them to expect to have the complexities of 10, 15, 20 characters in a 90 to 100 page script is impossible. So it's really about the actor filling in the blanks and bringing it to life.
Yeah. So for you, how do you kind of sculpt a character? Do you start out with the voice? Do you kind of figure out the psychology in the head? How do you like personally figure out how to act out a character?
Well, I think it's partly the psychology in the head. I think you got to figure out what makes this guy tick and what drives him to do what it is that he does, because the actor's job is to justify the reason that the character says what they say and do what they do.
Yeah.
So starting with the script as far as analysis is concerned and figuring out why I do what I do and why I say what I say and what, you know, I think sometimes it's challenging because you're handed a character that maybe on the outside isn't very likable or very I don't know, a character that maybe isn't easy to empathize or sympathize with. Mm-hmm. And so you still have to, as the actor, find a way to like them and justify the actions that they take along the way.
Yeah, exactly. Actor Tom Hardy said he figures out how to work out his characters through the voice first. I thought that was interesting.
It is interesting. I mean, there are different schools of thought, and I tend to think that you know, a lot of times the British trained actors or the European actors are you know, can come from the outside in or from a technical side of it in, and then work out the sort of inner emotional details and the psychology of the character after. And some people work the other way around, where they work from the inside out, where it's like I have to understand what drives this person emotionally, psychologically, and then I can put on the voice and put on the body and put on the, you know, the physical aspects of it.
Yeah. So what made you want to become an actor in the first place?
That's a great question. You know, I'm stalling now. My parents and I used to go to the movies every Sunday. We'd get up and, you know, go to church and then go to the movies afterwards. Yeah. And I just fell in love with the idea of bringing make-believe to life and being able to move a group of people, like an audience, in a way like that, you know. And we weren't always going out and seeing the most amazing movies. You know, we weren't always going to see like art house stuff. My parents were really into kind of seeing everything, which was great. But I just fell in love with the idea of taking on someone else's life, getting in someone else's psychology, and moving an audience through that medium.
Yeah. It's almost, in a way, it almost kind of seems like an exorcism. You have to bring out this person that's not really you.
You do.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's key and pivotal to always bring a part of yourself to the role, but you do really have to bring someone else to life. And sometimes actors, some actors don't look at it that way. Some actors sort of go, oh, well, it's just me now with different words. And it's not. It's, you have to adhere to the given circumstances and bring that situation to life through what the playwright or the screenplay informs you.
Yeah. Kind of switching gears here. Will we ever see you again in the Star Wars franchise?
Will we ever see me? I would hope so. That would be fantastic. I had such a blast doing that Rebel Assault 2 so many years ago.
Oh man!
Every once in a while, my wife will bring up the blooper. Apparently, if you play Rebel Assault 2 and you type in my name as your character, like you're playing me, you unlock all of these bloopers. I hope I'm not giving away some trade secret.
Oh man, I didn't know that.
You unlock all these bloopers, and they're just really funny because it reminds me of the experience of shooting it. Sometimes you see the finished product and it's all put together, and you forget about the experience of actually shooting it. It was really a good time.
Yeah, I was obsessed with that game when I was a kid, like completely obsessed.
Yeah. You know what? I have to admit I was never very good at playing it, so I called Vince, who's the guy who created it, and asked him to play it through and videotape it so I could see the whole storyline.
Oh, so you could see your performance.
So yeah, well, and I wanted to see how the story unfolded and what it all looked like, and I could never get past the darn Millennium Falcon going through the.
Yeah, that is difficult. Yeah, I played that recently, but it was like a movie that you could like play through. That was like what was so cool about it.
Yeah, it was.
So what are some favorite films of yours?
I have a lot of favorite films. I mean, one of my favorites is Stand By Me. It's one of those movies that's rated R for all the wrong reasons, for a little bit of language. But I a couple of years ago showed it to my kids, and they just became obsessed with it. It's such a great story. It's such a great relationship between the kids, and I just love when a script and I call it the triangle. The perfect triangle is the right script with the right actors and the right director. And when you have that perfect triangle, it just makes something magical, and that's one of those movies that's pretty magical to me.
So that's your all-time favorite film? One of them anyway?
One of the many. I mean, you could probably name me 10 of them. I go, oh yeah, that one's my favorite. All right. I mean, I think my all-time favorite film, I would have to say, is Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, yeah.
I just think the story, the performances, the way it unfolds. There's things in there that are just unbelievable that he goes through, and I love that moment when the warden comes in and throws the rock and it goes through.
Yeah.
God, you're like, you made it.
Finally made it out of there. I'd say for me, probably one of my top 5 films is probably The Princess Bride.
Oh, The Princess Bride. See,
Yeah.
now you named another one. I love that. Look, you can see my swords hanging on the wall behind me.
Ah, yeah, I didn't even notice that. Now you're saying.
Yeah, I used to be a fight master many moons ago.
Really?
I was a sword master and trained people for sword fighting and historical sword play, and would travel around and choreograph fights for Shakespeare companies and shows around the country. And so The Princess Bride was definitely one of my all-time favorites as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All right, we got to wrap it up here, but if you're interested in taking one of Jamison's classes, you can visit jonesfilm.com. Jamison, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. It was great talking with you.
Yeah. Good night, everybody.
Take care.